Hi there, and welcome to Hibbert's Hangout. Today on the channel we've got a game of Marvel Crisis Protocol, which will be the Web Warriors taking on the Spider Foes. The threats being played today are portals overrun city with spider people, which is 4 inherited portals on map D, and we've also got spider infected invade Manhattan, which is 5 spider virus infected on map F. The threat level being played today is 17 threat. So we'll show you the squads and get into the game from there. So today's Web Warriors consists of Spider-Man Miles Morales, Ghost Spider, Amazing Spider-Man, Blade, and Punisher. Team tactics cards for the Web Warriors include All Webbed Up, Web Barrier, Aunt May's Wheat Cakes, Spider Tracker, and Blood Red and Personal. Today's Spider Foes include Venom, Mysterio, Green Goblin, Kraven the Hunter, and Dr. Octopus. Tactics cards for the Spider Foes include Sinister Traps, Fearful Symmetry, Well Laid Plans, Lethal Protector, and Neogenic Recombinator. So here's our board setup for today's game, and we've got the 4 portals on map D, and then the 5 spider infected on map F. So our Spider Foes have deployed with Kraven and Venom on the left-hand side. Towards the centre is Mysterio and Goblin. And on the right-hand side alone is Dr. Octopus. Today's Web Warriors, we have Gwen on the left, Amazing Spider-Man up on the building, Spider-Man Miles Morales and Blade in the middle, and then Punisher on the right-hand side. So during the first power phase, we have our first team tactics card activated, and that is indeed Sinister Traps. That has been played by Kraven, and it is on the back spider infected. So we had the Web Warriors going first in round number 1, and that was Spider-Gwen. She decided to take one for the team and set off the Sinister Traps, which dealt 2 damage to her and she was pushed short. But she is a long mover, so she was able to get back where she needed to do and pay her power to pick up the spider infected. First up for the Spider Foes was Mysterio. He just did a short move to get in front of the bugle, and a second one to end on top of it, but still within one of that portal. Then he spent a power to roll a die, as he just has 1 energy defense, and was able to get a wild, so he has secured that back portal for those Spider Foes. For the Web Warriors was Blade. He just did a medium move to get within securing range of that portal, rolled his dice, did end up with a skull, so he's advanced within 2, but he did have a second move, so he's just tucked himself behind the fist building. So for the Spider Foes was Doc Ock, who did 2 medium movements to get within securing range of that portal, spent his power to interact with it, secured it, but he did get pulled within 2 of where he was, so he might get jumped on by the Web Warriors. So for the Web Warriors, we had Punisher, who advanced medium and decided to take a hip fire into Doc Ock. The first one got through for 2 damage. His rapid fire triggers, and we got through and attacked again, this time for 4 damage. So Doc Ock has been dazed. Next up for the Spider Foes was Venom. He just did his 2 short movements to get within range of the portal, paid a power to roll his 2 die, in which he got a blank and a skull. So he doesn't claim the portal, and he is moved within 2. So the Web Warriors just decided to push him backwards. So for the Web Warriors was the Amazing Spider-Man. He did 2 long movements off the top of his building, down within 1 of the portal, paid his 1 power, rolled his 4 die, and he secured it with 2 successes. And he's made sure to end outside of range 3, just in case Venom goes before he does. For the Spider Foes was Kraven. He did 1 medium movement to get within range 1 of that spider infected, has paid his power to pick that up, and did a second medium move, tucking himself behind the taxi. And to finish things off in round number 1 for the Web Warriors was Miles. He just had a pretty straightforward turn, and that involved 2 medium movements straight up the centre of the board to get within 1 of that spider infected, has paid his power, and he'll be picking it up. So Goblin was last to finish off the round, and for the Spider Foes he did a medium move to get within range 3 of Miles so he could throw a pumpkin bomb at him, hoping to generate some power. However, he only rolled one hit, which Miles easily blocked. This is how the board looks at the end of round number 1. You have the Web Warriors securing 2 of the portals, and they hold 3 citizens, 1 on Spider-Man Miles Morales, 1 on the Amazing Spider-Man, and 1 on Punisher, whereas the Spider-Foes, they hold 2 portals, but only 1 citizen, that on Kraven the Hunter. So at the end of the round, the Spider-Foes will be scoring 3 points for holding 2 portals and 1 citizen, whereas the Web Warriors will be scoring 5 points for 2 portals, 3 citizens as we head into round number 2. Flipping the cards is Doc Ock for the Spider Foes. So during the power phase of round number 2, all the die were rolled for the Spider Infected, and no one's been moved by any effects. So we have Punisher up first in round number 2. He started things out with a hit fire into Doc Ock. The first one got through for 3 damage. His rapid fire then kicks in, and that got through for another point of damage, leaving Doc Ock on 2 health. Since he was rolling hot, he decided to just hit fire again. This time would have only done 1, but Ock blocked it, as he also did with the rapid fire, sorry. So then Punisher decided to spend 2 of his gained power for Spec Ops training, advanced to be within 1 of the portal, rolled a die, and has secured it. So it was Doc Ock up for the Spider Foes. He started things out by paying 3 power for Ock's Clutches, took Punisher and hurled him straight into the taco van for 1 point of damage. He then mediumed down to pick up a Spider Infected, and continued to scuttle away in the hopes that he can survive another round. So then we had Blade for the Web Warriors. He did his short climb on top of the fist building, and then did some throwing glaives into Green Goblin as Doc Ock was just out of range, and he only rolled 1 hit, which Goblin was able to block. So next up we had Venom, who just did a short advance to get within range of the Spider Portal, but more importantly to get within range of Amazing Spider-Man. He then did a symbiote tendrils into him, which got through for 5 damage, so he then picked Spider-Man up and threw him into Ghost Spider with his Clintar Rage, dealing the last point of damage, needing to daze Amazing Spider-Man, and Gwen took 2 from her dodge. So she's taken 2, she's got 1 point of health remaining, Amazing Spider-Man's been dazed. Venom then paid her power to interact with the portal. However, again, he only rolled a blank and a skull, so he's been pushed backwards too. So for the Web Warriors, we have Miles, who did a webline kick into Kraven, the first one getting through for 2 points of damage. Then he did a web swing for that 2 power he just gained to move to where you see him, and did a second webline kick. This time it would have got through for 4 damage. So Kraven's been dazed and has dropped his Spider Infected on the other side of the taxi. So then we have the Green Goblin for the Spider Foes. He decided to stay where he was and fired 2 pumpkin bombs into Blade. The first getting through for 2 points of damage, the second getting through for 1 with a wild. So Blade is now incinerated. To finish things off for the Web Warriors was Spider-Gwen. She just did a long advance and followed that up with a spider technique. This going into Venom, which got through for 3 damage. And as she had moved this turn, she can then move long back. So she ended up where she started. So to finish things off in round number 2 was Mysterio, who just did 2 short advances to move himself slowly up the board. So here's how the table looks at the end of round number 3. Securing 3 portals is the Web Warriors, and they're also holding on to 3 Spider Infected. As for the Spider Foes, they only have 1 Infected and just the 1 portal. So at the end of round number 2, the Web Warriors will go from 5 points up by 6 to 11, and the Spider Foes are just gaining 2 victory points, taking them from 3 to 5. Flipping their cards this round will be Amazing Spider-Man and Kraven the Hunter. So, during the power phase, the infected were resolved, and we have Spider-Gwen, who's been moved short. Further down on that other side of the taxi, Doc Ock for the Spider-Foes has been advanced towards Blade, and Punisher has just been pushed further away. So we had Blade starting things off in round number 3. He started things out with a Knight of the Damnfear. This would have got through for 1 point of damage and bleed to Doc Ock. He's then allowed to advance medium, so he jumped off the building and followed it up with a Katana Strike, this time into Ock again. This time would have got through for 4 damage, so Ock is the first casualty of the game. He also dropped his Spider Infected, and Blade has paid his last power to pick it up, as he also spent one for Half-Blood Physiology and has shaken his Incinerate. So for the Spider-Foes was Kraven the Hunter. He started out by paying some power for Expert Tracker. Did this onto Amazing Spider-Man, so if anyone attacks him this round, they'll roll an extra die. He then spent some more power for Corner of the Beast, this time onto Gwen, so if she moves this round, she will daze as she's only got 1 point of health remaining. He then did a medium movement, and then a spear thrust into Miles, which as he's moved he can follow up with another move. So Kraven did that, and then got within 1 of the portal, paid a power, rolled his die, and has secured it for the Spider-Foes. So we did have Amazing Spider-Man up for the Spider-Foes. He started things off with a web swing, which got him roughly about there, to do a Spider Strike into Mysterio. He didn't pay any power to negate Mysterio's defense, so Mysterio was rolling 5 on 5. However, he was able to only block some of the damage, so he still took 3 points of damage. Spider-Man then followed that up with a whatever a spider can, this time going into Venom. He rolled exceptionally well. Would have done 8 points of damage to Venom, so he is dazed. Spider-Man then gets a medium movement to where you see him now, and Mysterio then used his tricks and traps due to some of the power he gave him, and that dealt 2 points of damage to Spider-Man. So before he's ended his turn, Amazing Spider-Man has decided to use Aunt Mate's Wheat Cakes, so him, Spider-Man Miles Morales, and Ghost Spider have all paid a power, so they've all removed 1 point of damage. So then we had Mysterio up for the Spider-Foes. He did a Hypnosis Gas into Spider-Gwen. First one was blocked, so he decided to do a second. This one did get through for 2 points of damage, so she has been dazed and dropped her Spider Infected. He paid a point of power to pick that up, and then another point to interact with that portal. And even with just 1 die, he was able to secure it for the Spider-Foes. So then we had the Punisher for the Web Warriors. He started things out by paying 2 power to do a short advance for Spec Ops training, and then did an aimed shot by paying 3 power into Kraven, spending both of his punishment tokens, and this got through for 5 damage. So Kraven's been taken out of the game, and then Punisher just advanced down medium to try and back up Blade. Then we had Green Goblin, who did a medium movement to get on top of the Daily Bugle, and then did a Knight of the Goblin into Amazing Spider-Man, and this got through for 1 point of damage, but it does deal out the poison and incinerate to him. And to finish things off was Miles, who just did a medium movement to get within range, paid a power and has secured the portal, and then he's just mediumed back pretty much to where he came from. So this is how we're looking at the end of round number 3. The Spider-Foes hold 2 portals and 1 civilian, whereas those Web Warriors, they have 2 portals, but 4 civilians. So at the end of round number 3, the Spider-Foes will go up 3 points to 8, whereas those Web Warriors are scoring 6 victory points at the end of round number 3, so that would take them to 17, and they have won the game, thanks to Miles claiming that last portal at the end there. So there we have it, a pretty short game there with the Web Warriors winning at the end of round number 3. Don't think it would have mattered what Goblin did, pretty much. The only thing he could have done is possibly gone after Blade with a hit and run and then tried to make a movement on the right-hand side portal. But with Miles able to secure that back one, that would have still netted them 4 points. So I think it was going to be the Web Warriors' day, even if it had gone another round. But it was a very good game, even though it was a short one. So all that's left to say is say thank you very much for taking the time to watch it. It's greatly appreciated. and I'll catch you next time.